It's time for Singles Only Podcast. My name is Paul Farahvar. I'm your host. I've been your host now for 5 years. So if you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're listening, you can actually watch this episode on my YouTube page, youtube.com/Paul F Comedy. My guest is stand-up comedian legend Rob Little. If you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to the Singles Only podcast. I know we're on multiple channels, but I'm going to try to unify that in the coming years, coming days, coming months, who knows. Check out my website, Paul F Comedy, for my upcoming dates. I am closing out my last week after I hiatus in Florida, doing shows in Sarasota. And then I return to Chicago, actually Arlington Heights and Oak Park, G-Man Tavern for a new showcase show there, the world famous G-Man Tavern. And then I return to my home club this weekend, coming up, April 30th weekend, whatever that is, at the world famous Laugh Factory. How's that sound? Sounds great. Hopefully I'll see you guys at a show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for reviewing. If you haven't already, go review us, please. That helps a lot. And thank you for checking out our sponsors. Hey, all, you guys know that I used to be a lawyer. Still am, but, kind of just in the background, if you will. But my friend, Scott Shapiro, he is a full-time lawyer. You guys maybe have injured on the job, need compensation, or you're just injured somewhere and you don't know what to do. You're entitled to way more money than you think you are sometimes. Not always, but most of the time. And my friend, attorney Scott Shapiro, has been helping people for over 20 years in this regard. If you've been injured, give him a call, 312-648-8800, or email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. He's a full-service law firm, so in addition to doing workers' comp cases, PI cases, he also handles all legal needs, including entertainment law. That's right, he's an entertainment lawyer. He's worked on a lot of musicians' cases, a lot of contracts, negotiations, and reviews of contracts for your needs, whether you're a comedian, musician, all that good stuff. All his consultations are free of charge initially. So don't take a chance and wait. Call him, 312-648-8800, or check out his website, scottshapirolegal.com. Call him today. Tell him I sent you. You will not regret it. This comedian is hilarious, tours all over the country. I got to work with him once here in Florida, where he is now a resident. Please welcome Rob Little. Rob.
Hey! Whoops. Sorry. Sorry, man. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm great. Rob, thank you so much for doing this. It's been we've been trying to get this figured out back and forth, and then we just decided, even though we're like only 100 miles away right now, I'm like, let's just do it via Zoom, because that's...
Yeah, I'm not driving. You come to my house. I just renovated this damn thing.
Right. Well, no, also, like, Florida, you're new here. I've been here for a while now, too. I don't live here yet, although people think I do.
I thought you lived here.
Yeah, that's because I've been here for so long, but I got to go back to Chicago. Traffic is so bizarre here. Like, it's either wide open or like 6 hours. You just don't know.
Right. Coming down to you, though, I'm in Leesburg, which is north of you. You're down by Tampa, right?
I'm in Sarasota, yeah.
Sarasota. So if I hit on 75, I could go about 120 the whole way and get there in no time. But then you go on any other highway, you're doing 20.
Yeah, so. And it's so weird. I did a show in Naples last night, and I'm going about 100 on 75. And then I see a cop. I'm like, oh no! And like, they don't care. They're just
not
like,
even.
You forgot the speed limit. It's all right. They don't care.
Just 100. Lame.
And people were passing me. I mean, it's crazy. But
I got pulled over actually a couple of weeks ago, but it was like, there's this new toll road coming into like near where I live, and I come off of it and it's a total trap because there's a big hill, and as soon as you come over the hill, they're right there. Well, I like to fish. Yeah. So I caught my personal best that day. It was like a 9.5 pound fish, and I was like on cloud nine. So I come over the hill. This guy pulls me over. He was probably 12. He looked so damn young. And I go, And I'm wearing all my fishing gear and stuff. And he's like, you going pretty quick. And I go, yeah, I caught my personal best today. And he goes, oh, okay. And then he totally let me go. he must be yeah, he was just like, oh, I get it. All right, go home, tell your friends.
Well, he's a good human being.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of being a good human being and not ruining your day / life, you are a single man who's never been married.
Now, I was engaged once, and she ended up, I couldn't get her to move to LA. We were both started dating in Detroit, and she wouldn't move to LA, and then we broke up, and she married a guy 2 months later. And I was like, oh, I think I know why you wouldn't move now.
Oh, no. Did you ever
find
out the backstory as to see what was going on?
I really didn't care after that. So now I just love being single. It's way better.
It's crazy because people give me a lot of shit for that, and I've been single, I've never been married, and here you are. Every time I see you, you're smiling, you're having a good time on stage. You're literally a ball of energy. Everyone is just watching you, and you just control this environment around you so amazingly. Why take a step and ruin that with marriage?
Yeah, why ruin that with marriage? Especially, I just bought this house up here, and I literally renovated the whole thing, and I freaking love it now. And I've gone on some dates with some girls, and they like immediately, you could just tell they want to move in. Yeah. But I'm just like, no, it's gonna be a while for that.
How have you managed to stay single? Has it been? I mean, you said you were engaged once. How long ago was that, by the way?
That was from 2001 to 2006 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how have you managed to pull this off? I know that you're a traveling comedian, so that helps.
That's the number one thing right there. I mean, there's no trick to it. I've had several girlfriends that all could have been great wives probably, but they just can't take you not being home ever.
Yeah. Do you want? Go ahead. Sorry.
And then they see, like, I love posting pics after shows, and they're always like, you're always with all these chicks. And I'm like, I post dude pics too, but women come up first. Yeah. Women, you don't see a lot of guys like, hey, can I get a pic with you, man, for my Instagram? And like, no, it's always chicks. Yeah. So I will post the guys ones too. Don't get mad at me for that. I can't help it. But women are better promoters too than dudes.
Absolutely. Because they have more followers usually, and then they're active on social media, and I'm like, tag me in that,
Yeah, always.
Are you, did you ever have a desire to get married and have kids and live like a traditional life when you were younger? Or?
Yeah, when I was younger. It's funny. I have some friends that just sent me, we had like in our senior year, we had predictions. Did you guys do that?
Yeah.
When you graduated, we're like, what we're going to be in life.
Who's going to be? Yeah.
The only thing that didn't come true was getting married for me. Because I said I'm going to go to college, get my computer degree, get married, and then be the best comedian I can be. And I did it exactly that, except get married.
How big was your high school?
169 in my graduating class.
And you graduated?
It was small.
You were Michigan or?
Yeah, I grew up like 2 hours north of Detroit in a town with one light. Okay. And we're the cheese capital of Michigan, and we're also third in Hemp Magazine for the best marijuana in the United States.
There you go. Those are accolades to be proud of.
And the best thing is the one diner in town named a sandwich after me.
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool, right? The Rob Little steak sandwich.
I've done shows in Michigan where people have asked me or said they know you or related to you. And I always text you. I'm like, this guy says you're his cousin from something, and you're like, nope.
100% untrue. I don't have it. The only relative I have back in Michigan is my mom. That's it.
Okay. Fair enough. So you thought you were getting married and become a comedian. So 1 out of 2 came true. When did you realize that like living a traditional like family life wasn't something in the cards for you?
As soon as I started comedy.
Yeah.
As soon as because I was like, that's my girlfriend now. Right. Comedy is my woman. And yeah, I mean, that's how we are.
People don't understand that. And it's such a fulfilling thing. And forget about the physical inability to meet with people, but just like the mental amount of energy you put into jokes, put into comedy. And like, after a show, sometimes you want to just do your thing, and it interferes
Yeah.
with what is a traditional, life. I've missed so many, friends' weddings and things like that.
Oh
Even
yeah,
before-
for sure.
Yeah. So, and that was before I was a musician before that. So I kind of knew that this was going to be something in my life. But I always, when I talk to people, I'm like, how does this? They're like, well, what's going to happen when you get older? My parents are like, what are going to happen when you get older? I'm like, I don't know. Be happy.
What? Yeah. What do you mean? I'll probably get some old lady at the Villages and be dating her and getting some STD and enjoying life. What are you talking about? I'll be out on my boat fishing every day and not having to hear some woman bitch at me because I didn't clean up or something. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I always hear about the Villages with comedians in Florida. Is that like a hot spot for older women?
I have yet to be there. I just booked it. Actually, I'm
Okay.
doing a couple gigs up there. I've driven through it. It's just looks like another town, really. It doesn't, it's not like people, the way they portray it, it sounds like you just go to this club and there's a million old ladies just horned up ready for you. And it's I haven't found that club yet, so I don't know.
We'll find it. You got to do a big Google map search of some sort.
Yeah.
See where they're at.
Speaking about being single, look at this back wall behind me. Can you see this?
Memories? Yeah.
So I just thought it was really cool, but I'm like, that's definitely a single guy right there. I got too much time on my hands.
It seems like something a sorority girl would do, to be honest.
I was a fraternity guy and we used to do this in my room, actually.
Excellent.
But I just thought it was a cool way. You got all these pictures, and it's funny you said fraternity. Look at that right there. Fraternity. I put
Oh yeah, I see it.
fraternity up there's comedy, or no, what is it?
Friends.
Then that's comedy, and then that's family. Yeah.
Off to the
4
side.
F's.
Like the forgotten batch.
But it was like, what are you going to do with these pictures? Nobody's looking at them in books or anything, but I put them up here and people sit in this room for like a half hour looking at everything.
Yeah, they're cool. They don't have photo albums like they had back in the day. I have like photo albums of all my frat days, like all my stuff. I'm like, what
fraternity?
I was a DU in Champaign in the University of Illinois. So
Delta Upsilon?
Delta Oops, I joined the wrong fraternity. Yeah.
I've never I was Delta Sigma Phi, but it was like that was like the best time of my life. It was the best. You definitely want to be single then.
Well, that's funny because I go back to I kept a journal for like 6 months when I was 20 and in a fraternity, and all I wanted to do was get married, find a girlfriend. That's all. It was my only focus at all the exchanges and all that stuff. Were you kind of like? What were you like in college? Were you like getting all the girls or kind of?
Now that you said that, what happened to the audio?
I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay. It just sounds weird on my end now. Oh, there we go. I actually dated the one girl that broke my heart in college through my fraternity. And as soon as we broke up, nobody knew my last name. My last name's Little. Nobody knew it. It was all Social Rob. That's what they called me because I was super friendly.
Yeah.
I wasn't the social in our group, which is the guy who starts and plans the parties.
Yeah.
I was just very sociable. So that was my nickname. And I was a horn dog, man. It was the best.
Yeah. But I was like everyone in high school, especially, I was in like the popular crowd, but I was their friend. Like nobody wanted to date me. I was like I was a tiny kid. I was like 5'2". I didn't grow till like senior year of high school. But even in college, like I'd fall in love with all these women. And like they were just like,
I was in the popular crowd too, and I was getting everything. Well, were you funny back then too?
Nah, I was kind of shy, but like I was funny around just my group of friends. Like I would be the guy who whispers stuff. Like I wasn't an outgoing, funny guy. But
I was the Chris Farley in my group.
Yeah, you're a ball of energy. That makes sense. Did you how are you meeting, like in the last 10 years, would you say? Did you ever use the dating apps or anything like that?
I've never done a dating app.
Okay.
Because I don't really think we need to. We do shows. That's our dating app. So that's how I met every single girl I've ever dated since I started comedy.
Really?
Yeah. They come up to me after shows, any shows too. Like I've done like cruise ships. I've done swingers groups,
Wow.
nudist resorts.
Yeah.
I mean, you meet them everywhere and anywhere, and it's as long as you're a fun guy, they want to go out with you, but then they see you're never going to be around, and that's when it ends.
Yeah, the romance of dating a comedian ends pretty quickly. Like people
Yeah,
like on those apps are like, oh, I want to meet someone funny. You're like, yeah, I'm kind of professionally funny, but you're gonna see that this isn't what you want.
they have to have their own life.
Yeah,
That's the only way it's going to work out. They have to be independent and be in just have their own life, man. That's the hardest part. And because then they see you're always gone, and it's like, oh, you're on. Because I do a crap ton of cruises too. That's why I moved to Florida right when COVID hits, and then there's no cruises. But they think you're on vacation, and I'm like, you have no idea how miserable I am on this. I'm surrounded by everybody that's on a vacation, and I don't want to talk to any of them because they all ask me the same stupid questions every day.
right.
And so it's not a big vacation on those things. They want you to be miserable, and I am miserable. So I'd rather be home with you and enjoying this, but I got to make a living because you're not my sugar mama right now. So how do we get one of those?
Well, the thing, yeah, no, that's the thing that I always do. Like, I agree with you. I've talked about it in the podcast before, where if they're independent or they have something else that's a passion of theirs, or if they have like a child or children, that gives them like an out. They're like, I gotta focus on raising a child or something like, or I have my own career. But if they have a career that's like a 9 to 5, or you are, and we work at nights, you're never gonna see that person either.
Nope.
So
No. And what do you feel about dating? Like, I would never date a girl that had kids before. Now I'm like, yeah, it'd be great. I've never had kids, so I'm down with it.
yes, so that's funny you say that. I almost exclusively like to date women who have kids now, because before I was like, like I was too immature to handle it. But now it's like I like that because they have a priority that isn't me, and
Yeah,
like
they're
I
not
like,
worrying about you.
yeah, it's like I like to, and then we can have fun and we could go do things when they have and they're also, their time is valuable too, because usually they're splitting time with somebody else, and then when they are free, it's like, okay, let's go have some fun. Let's do something cool. It's like if I have a day off, I want to like make the most of it. I don't want
Yeah.
to, watch TV all day. So
Yeah, I don't sit around. I'm always up doing something.
right.
Okay, now this just brought up a funny thing to me. One time I was going out with this chick, and I never met her kids, which was great. I liked that she didn't want me to meet them right away. And then when I did meet them, they came home from school one day, and I met them. They seemed pretty good. Like, she had a younger daughter, which I really liked. She was super funny and everything, but her son was kind of in that weird state where they just want to be in the room and be stinky and game and do whatever. You know what I mean? They were not sociable.
How old was the kid?
13 or 14
Oh, okay.
or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was a
Older.
horrible age. But the daughter was really funny, but she was also like too smart for her age. Her daughter was probably like 9 or 10. So one day she came home, and I'm sitting on the couch. I just got there, and then her daughter walks into the house, sits down in front of me on the floor, looks at me and goes, okay, where is this going with my mom? And
What are your intentions with my mom? Yeah.
at that point, I was like, it's going nowhere now. I don't need this kind of pressure. This is like, I like your mom, but I'm not nowhere near anything higher level. So thanks for the interview there, Barbara Walters, but I'm gonna, I couldn't believe she said it too. She was like, it was like she was 40 when she said it. And that I kind of went back to that girl later, and I says, yeah, I think it's gonna be an uphill battle with your kids.
Yeah.
I just don't, I don't have the time to do it. So
That's hilarious. I mean, yeah, I mean, she probably was like, looked you up and you're like, this guy just seems like a comedian. She probably Googled you and was like, this guy.
the little girl,
Yeah, the little girl probably Googled
oh,
you.
I don't think she was even that. She just wants her mom to finally get a dude that would treat her good, I think.
Yeah. Right. Well,
I was like, I'm just a booty call for your mom, really. So I don't know why.
Have you met people, like, what if you found a woman that like is just as passionate as you are about fishing and comedy or something like that?
I would love that. That would be awesome.
Has that happened? I mean, there's other women.
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah, it's
Okay.
happened recently, actually. So
Okay.
we'll see how that goes.
Well, what have you dated other comedians?
I've never. That's funny you brought that up
I
because
always say no. I always say never do that. But
I have never dated one, but I work a lot of cruise ships, and one of your favorite guests that you book all the time,
oh yeah,
is totally my type, 100% my type. And when we worked together, she was constantly talking about hooking up on the cruises, and I was always like, she never once gave me like any inclination that I would have a chance.
right.
So I just kind of like played it off and never even, because I didn't want to be like her going around, oh, then this guy's trying to get with me all the time,
Right.
you know?
Yeah,
So I just let it go. But God, she is 100% the type I like.
that's the thing that sucks about being a comedian. Like we're attracted to other comedians, whether physically, in a sexual way, or just hanging out. Like if you're in a room and you find out someone's a real comedian, you're gonna go talk to that person.
Of course.
And then
you got all that in common,
right. But then you can't date a comedian, in my opinion, because it's like
You froze up on me.
Yeah, it's like you're all. What's that?
You froze up on me. I didn't see that.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You can't. You can't really date a comedian because it's like working. It's like working same working environment, which it's just like any. We don't have an HR department to like.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that. But it's like,
right.
In sense, I've seen what happens when you do, and there are successful comedians who are successfully married and whatnot. But for every one of those, I can think of 10 very toxic situations.
Yes. There's actually a guy on the cruise ships that has married 2 female comics that work the cruise ships.
Oh, wow. Really?
And the latest one, I think I heard that they just broke up or so. I don't know, because I used to be good friends with her and she's pissed me off on the cruise ship and I just quit talking to her.
Yeah.
Just said something stupid and I was like, screw that. And then I just heard through the grapevine that they were having problems. So
are you, what about dating other people that are in the entertainment industry? Have you done that, like musicians or someone that has the similar hours that we do?
No, I've never dated. You know what I always think would be the perfect wife for comics is a flight attendant.
Yeah.
Because they have very similar schedules.
Yes.
They're always on the go and they could get us discounts with flights.
Yeah, absolutely. You could pocket the travel money and be like, yeah, just give me the 150.
That's a big part of it.
Absolutely.
And plus they're always on the go. Like, I always think that would be the perfect one. And I knew a few flight attendants and they're always like the ones I knew. Actually, my buddy right across the street from me is married to a flight attendant, but they're always kind of very like fun, frisky chicks.
Yeah.
Like they play this like Miss Wholesome girl up there, but then behind the doors, they're.
Have you hooked up with a flight attendant?
No. The one I want is like she quit being a flight attendant. Not that that would matter, but
yeah. Well, you don't get credit if
no, I know that's right. But like, how do you approach that? Because I'm sure they always talk about getting hit on planes. So I never do, but I've given a couple of them my card because I'm like, oh, you're really funny. I'm actually a comedian. Here's my card. And I just kind of play it off like,
yeah,
where are you based out of? Because I play that club there or something.
Right. Yeah, no, that would be a great. And I actually matched with flight attendants before. Like
I totally forgot I did hook up with a flight attendant before.
Oh, no way.
I forgot all about it. It was actually on a cruise. There was 4 flight attendants on a cruise.
Nice.
And this was a while ago though. She was awesome. Super fun.
So what are your types other than like, obviously if you have similar interests or whatever, these people that come up to you after the show, I bet you there's also a lot of red flag people that also come up to you that you're like, how do you spot the difference between something that could be a fun situation and something that could be dangerous or potentially toxic and annoying? Let's put it that way.
Okay. I was sitting here while you were saying that, I'm going,
I saw your face light up.
I can't even think of a toxic one. But then like, I'm just like, hey, I'm here this weekend. You're happy.
Yeah, right.
But that doesn't mean it's my type. But I actually had a actually legitimate stalker one time in Iowa, of all places. And she would drive 8 to 10 hours if I was in the radius of where she was from. And she'd show up. And after the show, she'd just stand there next to me and say she wanted to have my babies and all this stuff.
Oh, God.
And I was just like, so one time I was doing the Des Moines Funny Bone, and I told, Leisha, I said, if she shows up, call the cops, because I don't want to deal with this, It was getting bad.
Did she show up?
Yeah, they called the cops. And then like months later, her mother wrote me and told me that she was off her meds. And I was like, of course, that's the only way I would get a stalker. One that's off her meds.
No one wants me. What about, have you had, what is it that if someone, obviously you're not doing a lot of the pursuing because you're waiting for people to come to you, right?
I'm not good at the pursuing.
Really? Okay.
Are you? Like, unless they saw my show, that's the only time I feel like I'm good at it. But if they didn't see me, it's not even I don't even try, because I know I don't got good game.
What if you have a bad show and then you still like the joke is like, you're like, oh, you really like your show. You're like, which show are you at? Like,
yeah, you always ask that. Which show are you at?
Yeah.
Especially if they email you or social media or something.
Yeah. Like, have you had situations where you think you didn't have a good show and then the woman is still like coming after you? You're like, really? After that?
I've actually had some where I've had like a girl heckler and I tore her up and made her look like a fool, and she got super pissed, but then still came after me.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, this is weird.
And what happened?
We hooked up. I still tore her up. That was horrible. Horrible.
Well, you had an opportunity there. Did you do you have a type that you're attracted to physically, or just things that they say?
Yeah, well, don't we all? I mean, I feel like
what is your tell people?
I hate to say it, because the one I'm starting to see now is not. I'm 100% blondes.
Okay.
Blondes drive me insane, man. And but I always seem to get brunettes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I actually was I was going out with this one who was brunette, but she's actually a blonde. And I goes, well, go back to blonde. Like, that's what I love. And she's just like, I look better as a brunette. I'm like,
right.
Oh, well, I guess we're not staying together then.
What are the deal breakers for you? Like when you're dating someone or hanging out with somebody, where you're like, if that happens, you're like, you're out. Is there something? Smoking? Okay.
I hate smoking, and chew, if they do chew.
Come on.
Smoking pretty much is my number one.
Have you had some? I do know a woman that I went out with once that she, I used to chew tobacco, and she wanted to try it, and then she ended up liking it. And I was like,
oh my God.
You can't take on this habit,
No.
It's not going to be.
She's like snapping the thing.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, who's this girl?
Yeah.
Smoking is probably the only thing I can think of that is like a definite turn off for me.
Okay.
A penis is another one. That's a big turn off. Otherwise, I'm pretty open-minded, I feel like.
Have you had any shows where you've had to like balance, like let's say you're coming to town, you have a girl in town do you have girls in towns that you hang out with? Like
my POCs is what I call them.
What are they called?
POCs, portacalls.
Right? Yeah,
that's what I used to do. I mean, that was like, I've been doing this 23 years. Like probably my first 15 years, I used to say that.
Protocol, okay.
Yeah.
So if you had a girl in Las Vegas or something like that, and then all of a sudden there's 4 other people, what do you do in those situations, or what?
4 other people as in 4 other opportunities?
4 other opportunities, yeah. Do you go with the loyal? Yeah.
That's a tough call, and that's happened several times.
Yeah.
Several times. What I've gotten, God, I'm giving away all my secrets. What I would used to do was I would just go, hey, I got friends coming this night. Can you come the other night?
Yeah.
Just try to make them come one night or the other.
All right. That makes sense. Now yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you know what's funny is when you said, no, let's say you got one in Vegas. Instantly, I thought of one in Vegas. Like
Yeah.
you could name any city, and we could be like, oh yeah, there's that one.
For me, it's like I wish there was that situation, because I rather just have someone like just to hang out with after a show, that it's like, okay, this city, it's not even about the hookup. It's more about like, all right, I don't know anyone in this.
Comfortability.
Yeah, like I just want to go where's the best place to get barbecue in Nashville or whatever. And then they become like and then sometimes I'll go back in that city, and the girl that I met is married now, but I'm like, hey, I don't know anyone else. Can I hang out with you? And I'm fine with that. Like it's a comfortability thing for me. But yeah.
I think I know why you had all friends in high school now.
Yeah, I think I always screwed.
You're married? I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm like, could we just get food? Like all I care about after shows is getting
eating.
Food.
I know. It's so true.
And most of these places, we get done with a second show, like everything shuts down, especially in Florida. I hate that. I'm a late night person, and everything is shut down so early. Like I've had more Waffle House in the last 2 months than I had in a lifetime.
Really?
Fine, but yeah.
I actually was watching some of your cast before ours, and you said something. I'm like, that's so me too. I imagine a lot of comics are night owls, but like there's nights where I don't ever sleep. I'll just stay up 48 hours.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I'm wired. Or if I get like I'm big into doing woodworking and projects and stuff. So I'll get a project in my head and I'd research the hell out of it. And I'll be up till 5, 6 in the morning. And then once the light, I go to Home Depot and get what I need and start doing it.
I'm up sometimes at 4. I'm like, I might as well just stay up for another hour or two. And then there's a gym in here. I'm like, I'll just go do weights really quick, and that might make me fall asleep. And
yeah.
It sucks in Florida because the weather's so nice. You're like, oh man, I haven't really been on a beach yet, but
that's the one thing everybody keeps saying to me too, is like, how far are you from the beach? And I'm like, I don't care. I live on a chain of lakes. Yeah, that's where I want to be.
Right.
I don't give a crap about the beach.
So what's the next? You're not gonna have kids, I assume. That's
probably a little late for that, I think. It's funny because this new one I'm trying to see she's more my age, whereas the last 3 girls I dated were all 28 years old.
Okay.
And I'm 48. So okay. I don't know why, but that's the age range I always get. And then I'm like, oh, I kind of like it, because then I'm like, there's a possibility for kids now.
Right.
With them. Whereas you date girls our age or my age, then I'm like, I guess I can leave it in. I ain't got to worry about it. No, that's horrible. But you know what I mean? Like you're not going to have kids with the girls that are older. Yeah. So
that's true, I guess.
Whatever. I don't really care anymore. I'm too selfish. Like I want a dog. That would be my kid. That's all I care about.
Yeah, but you're never home. So how are you going to take care of a dog?
Well, then that chick will have to eventually move in then and help me take care of these dogs.
Yeah, well,
I don't have a problem taking them to a breeder or whatever you call those places that watch them for a week. Yeah.
Do
you have pets?
I don't. I was going to get a dog during the quarantine, but then I was like, I'm never going to be home. Like I couldn't have stayed in Florida for the last month if I had a dog. It
actually pisses me off when people say that to you, though. It's like, oh, but you're never home. And then in my head, I'm like, I want to be home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be on the road all the time. And then that's kind of why I moved down here for the cruises too, because the year before COVID, I'd only had 10 days off. And I was like, I'm changing this. I'm going to, and I literally had enough money saved up where I could literally just work 1 cruise a month and be good and then be home the rest of the time. And eventually that's what I hope to get to, is like a cruise or a club a month, but now this screwed everybody. So now I got to work for 3 years to pay off all this crap.
Yeah, but it's funny. We always say that, like, you're like, oh, I want to take a night off. And then last week I had like 2 or 3 nights where I didn't have shows. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And then 2 days in, I'm like, I need to get up. And like,
that's because you don't have a house and you're not doing projects and stuff.
Right. I don't have a project. I don't have anything else, but I
could care less about going on the road right now. And I hate to say it because I love being on stage,
Right.
But
The minute you get on stage, someone told me recently, it's like I don't want to do it. But then the minute you get on, you're like, okay, yeah, I don't want to get off. Like,
right. It's so true.
Right. That's our girlfriend.
Yep. I don't want to get off her.
Right. Rob, we're out of time. Where can people find you?
Are we really?
Yeah. We went long. I'm sorry.
Why? What is your normal time on these?
We usually do 30 minutes, but
oh my God, this was flying by then.
Yeah, we'll get you back on. We'll
okay, I want to get in the three-peaters with her.
3 feet club. Absolutely. Yeah. We'll do it in person next time because we'll probably be closer to each other when I'm back here in July. I'll probably be doing shows.
If you need a place to stay too, I have 2 spare bedrooms.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk.
Okay, I'm just letting you know, man. I got a lot of room, so
yeah. Let's do it.
I'll have my dock and boat by then. So
wow. Okay, then you do need to keep working shows.
Yeah.
With that lifestyle. Unless you're gonna start selling fish that you catch, you can do that.
Selling these wood projects I'm making. That's what I need to do.
Where can people find out more about you and your upcoming shows, Rob?
RobLittle.com. It's Rob Little on all the social media. And I have a new podcast out too, which we will probably ask you to be a guest on eventually when we get better at it and start having guests. It's called A Little Tomfoolery with me and Tommy Ryman, comic out of Minnesota. He's one of my best friends, and we're just 2 peas in a pod, man. So yeah, we got that going. So that'll be out pretty soon. And yeah, RobLittle.com.
Awesome. Well, please check out Rob and his new website, or I'm sorry, his new podcast.
Yeah.
RobLittle.com. And thank you, Rob, for joining the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. This was fun. Thanks, Paul.